on, are we able to acquire resources and show strength and work on ourselves, and we can build ourselves into the kind of man that women want to be with. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Keith. I made this channel to help men create their ideal lives through self-mastery. We're going to get straight into today's topic. The topic of today's video is 10 benefits of NoFap semen retention. Real quick though, I do want to make a point about semen retention that I think needs to be addressed, and that is, what is the point of doing this, okay? Because most guys, I see a lot of guys, this is my pet peeve with the subject, making this into like a cult or a religion and making their streak the most important part of this, and they miss the whole point. And in reality, a lot of these guys are just rationalizing the fact that they can't get laid, to be honest. So what is the point of this practice? The point of this practice is to turn you into an alpha male. And the way that works is, if you think about an alpha male in the truest sense, he's a man who's focused on his mission and his purpose, and the women come to him. He doesn't pursue the women, whereas a beta male is focused on getting the approval of women and chasing after women. So what happens? Semen retention is a good practice for you if you're the kind of man who is self-aware enough to admit that he's in the beta camp right now. He's chasing women, women aren't chasing him, and he doesn't have his life together. That's the kind of man that this is a good practice for. And the reason being is because you voluntarily take yourself out of the dating field. You take yourself off the sexual marketplace, and by definition that means you are no longer pursuing women, you're pursuing your goals. And what happens is, if you practice this long enough, you're going to start to bring into your life the women you want, okay? But let's stop making streaks be the point. The point is to become the kind of man who can get with the women so that you don't even have to worry about a streak, right? So don't make the streak the point. Focus on yourself, the women will come, and then you won't have to worry about a streak. I'm gonna make a whole video breaking this down in more detail, but I just want to get clear about that. But with that said, these benefits you're gonna see here that I've written down are benefits that guys who are alpha men, regardless of if they practice semen retention or if there's somebody like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the basketball player, who famously had sex with over 3,000 women, and he was obviously an alpha male who was dominant at what he did. But these are benefits that come with just being an alpha kind of man, as these types of things come to you, okay? First thing I had down is clarity. The world becomes a lot more clear when you get on a semen retention streak, and that, what I mean by that is, it's almost like you went from 1080p to 4K, basically. Just everything becomes sharper and more present. I equate it to if you have like a stopped up nose when you have a cold and you can't breathe very good, and then once you can breathe again, you realize like how stifled your breathing was. Well, once you get on a semen retention streak, it's as if the stopped up brain goes away. It's as if you had a stopped up brain and now you have an unclogged brain. You can see the world clearer and sharper and more present with it, and you have clarity around decision making too. You become more decisive in your decision making. You're not wishy-washy, which is honestly, that is one of the beta male traits that you'll lose, is you become less, you're not wishy-washy anymore. You become focused and clear on what you're doing. Second thing I'd have down, increased energy, all right? You're just gonna have more energy to get shit done, and this is because your body thinks that you're not reproducing, which you aren't. And when your body thinks that, considering your body's primary objective is to help you survive and reproduce, it knows it needs to put in more work to make you be a more viable sexual option so that you can go out and reproduce to the next generation. So it gives you more energy, the same way that if you go into survival mode, suddenly you have more energy and adrenaline, you could do these things you couldn't normally do, where your body starts to give you that benefit as well in this part of your life. So a lot of times this manifests in the gym. So if you go to the gym, you'll have more energy to work out, you'll have a little more pop in your workouts. It also manifests in a business too. If you're the kind of guy, which a lot of guys are, you're working a full-time job and trying to build a business, well, a lot of times you're burnt out when it comes to doing the business or the artistic endeavor you have because you worked at work all day. But this is going to give you that energy to keep pushing with all those different things. You're just going to have an almost unlimited supply of energy. The third thing I had down, you're less anxious, all right? I don't really know what it is. I think it must have to do with the shame of doing it, but if you watch porn and masturbate, you find that you're anxious in social situations, and I do think it comes down to the fact that you know you're doing a low level behavior and you feel shame about it. So you have that kind of feeling within yourself of who you are, and it manifests in anxiety when you're around other people or just in life in general. So what happens when you stop doing this is it honestly just takes a couple days and your anxiety will be almost completely gone. As even if you have a lot of anxiety, it'll decrease significantly very fast. Because I think you get out of your worrisome mind and you stop doing acts that you know aren't good for your health, and you start focusing on bettering yourself, and as a result, the anxiety goes away. Fourth thing I had down, better interactions with women. Now, some guys have talked about this being pheromones emitting and things like that, and I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to tell you if that's true or not. My guess is that if you're the kind of guy who watches porn and masturbates, you start looking at women like sex objects rather than as people that you can have a legitimate connection with. And this manifests in the way you communicate with them. And women are way more socially adept than men, so they'll pick it up quick if you're looking right through them. They'll pick it up quick if you're not present with them in the conversation. And also, I think a lot of guys who watch pornography tend to believe that they are on the bottom end of the spectrum of attractiveness, but I think that most guys honestly fall in the middle somewhere. And the benefit of being a man, honestly, is that we have the ability to change our sexual attractiveness much more easily than women. Women are kind of born, you're either born attractive or you're not. And sure, you can do things to help with that, like exercise and stuff. But at the end of the day, men have more malleability in our attractiveness based on, are we able to acquire resources and show strength and work on ourselves? And we can build ourselves into the kind of man that women want to be with. So thinking that you're less attractive, in reality, you're going to find that you're somewhere in the middle. You've just been missing it because you've been up in your head thinking about women as sexual objects, and you haven't been having a good interaction with the women, so you've been missing the cues that they've been putting out that they are attracted to you. So you're going to notice all these things, and I think you're just going to become aware of it. You're going to be more present to the moment. You're going to feel more masculine energy within you, and that dance of the polarities between the masculine and feminine will show through. You'll get more positive responses from women. The fifth thing I had down, presence. You become more present to the moment. And this is a really a fun thing. I think it's just because you get out of your head and into your body, but you react quicker to things. You're more present in conversation. You're not, it's instead of waiting for your turn to speak, you're actually listening to the other person speak and then having a legitimate conversation. You're more focused on the work you're doing rather than kind of going through the motions of things. And this can really be helpful. For me, this is helpful in the gym. Being as somebody who's worked out for a long time, a lot of times I can kind of my mind can go somewhere else while I'm working out, but if I decide I want to get on a serious semen retention streak, my workouts get a lot more present, because what happens is basically I get more focused into the moment and I'm in my body more, and my workouts tend to improve. A lot of times this happens with people in their business as well. You can get more focused in on what you're doing and do that deep work that really produces great results. The next thing I had down, grounded energy. This goes along with that as well, but you feel more in your body. It's like you can feel your legs. You feel like the essence of who you are is not in your head, but it's in your whole being, all right? And you can feel it more. You feel like more connected to the earth, and it gives you a more masculine presence as well. You feel more assertive as well, because it's almost as if you've got something to stand on rather than kind of being blown around in the wind pretty much. The seventh thing I had down, more confidence and fearlessness, all right? This is also going to go down to that biological part that I was talking about. If your body feels like it's not reproducing, it has less time to be afraid of negative outcomes because you need to reproduce. So if normally your mind is trying to make you scared to go ask a girl for a phone number, well, if you've been doing this for 2 or 3 weeks or something like that, suddenly your body's a lot less worried about that, because the fear of rejection gets outweighed by your need to reproduce, and you'll start to do subtle little things that you used to be afraid of, and you won't be as worried about them, and life becomes more of an adventure, and you become more confident, and you take more risks in things you want to accomplish rather than playing it safe all the time, because it becomes more of a situation where you need to go for broke rather than trying to conserve what you have. The eighth thing I had down, eye contact. I first learned about the importance of eye contact when I learned about how alpha males have good eye contact, and how the alpha is the one who maintains the eye contact longer and things like that. And once I learned this, I realized my gaze was always being averted and I wasn't looking at people very good, and I consciously knew I was doing it, and I felt this sense of submission and fear every time I did it, and I became aware of this. But it wasn't until I quit watching porn that this went away and I was able to look people in the eyes comfortably and relaxed, and I found out that I became more of the dominant person in the situation because I became more comfortable within myself. They say that eyes are the window of the soul, and so I think the reason this happens is because when you look someone in the eyes, there's a sense of honesty with it, and if you're hiding something you're ashamed of that you're doing on a daily basis, it's hard to maintain that eye contact. Where if you have nothing to hide and you're proud of who you are, you can look someone right in the eye and not give a fuck. The ninth thing I had down: clear focus on goals. All right, think about those vivid sexual fantasies you have and realize that they can be used for things other than sex. So if you're not focused on sex, you're focused on your other goals, and you consistently, every time you get distracted with sex, you move your attention to something else. Those vivid visualizations are going to come for something else, and so you're going to get more clarity around what you want, whether it be artistic or with your business or in the gym, whatever the case may be. You're going to get more vivid ideas of what you want your future to be like, and you're going to be able to pursue them with more clarity and purpose and focus. The last thing I had down: little things become more fun. So what do I mean by this? Basically, the little mundane things become more fun in life. So maybe it's just driving around or just relaxing or watching a movie or having a conversation or eating. Things just become more enjoyable because you stop focusing on getting to an end result and enjoying the process. The idea of chasing an ejaculation or an orgasm is the same as chasing a goal in anything else at the expense of the process of getting there. And what happens when you're goal-oriented rather than process-oriented is you have less tolerance for the things in between. You have less pleasure on the way to getting the goal, and ironically, it means you're not going to get the goal very likely anyways. Enjoying the process and the daily routines of like building your body or building your business is the same thing as enjoying the process sexually rather than chasing an outcome. And so I think this is what that means, basically, to enjoy the little things of life. You start to enjoy them more because you stop pursuing instant gratification and end objectives and start just enjoying the daily life, the things you do in life. Like for me, I enjoy driving a lot more than I used to many years ago, back when I was addicted to pornography, and I'm more aware of what I'm doing on a general basis. So that's what I've got for these 10 guys. I know a lot of us here on Semen Retention and NoFap Journeys, we do this because we're trying to build better versions of ourselves, and that's the reason you should be doing it. Become an alpha male, become a more dominant man who can attract the kind of women he wants. And part of that comes to do with fitness. So I wanted to tell you all about my Warrior Workout Program, which is designed to turn you from beginner to stud in just 9 weeks and help you have your best body ever by this summer. I released the program early for my YouTube subscribers here because you guys were just awesome and I loved communicating with you, and I gave you a huge discount. The program officially launches on March 3rd, but if you sign up by then for the program, you're going to get over 50% off. Plus, I'm going to give you Training Camp, my group coaching program, free for life. That means a lifetime of group coaching on fitness as well as men's development issues for completely free as a bonus for joining before March 3rd. I'll put the link for that in the description box below. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on tomorrow's video.